Hi friends, welcome back to my little cozy corner of the internet. I wanted to share with you guys the books that I read in December and the ones that I have planned soon. I have a little tiny bit of a haul of what I got for Christmas. It's only 2 books and then one other one that I ordered that I'm really excited about. And this is kind of exciting because I have like every genre. First book that I read, which was a fantasy, the second book I read, which was a horror, and then the third book that I read was a romance. And those were my first of all 3 genres. My first fantasy, my first horror, and my first romance. So I'm really excited to talk about these. The first one I'm not going to spend really much time on because I already did a whole separate video on it, and that is about Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I liked this book. I did. I honestly don't know what I would rate it out of 5. Probably 3.5, maybe 4. I talked about this a lot in my other video. My main reason that I was like kind of disappointed, I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but basically I just needed more from the characters. I felt like we didn't really get to know anybody except for Maven maybe. Cal didn't have a personality really. Mare was just obnoxious. I didn't really like her. The story was great, I really liked it, but there were just a lot of things that I was not super excited about. And like I said, I found myself rooting for Maven like the entire time. I do like Cal because I love that he's committed to his position, I guess, as a prince and being part of the kingdom and like his position in the military and all of that. Like, I find that to be a really attractive quality. So that was pretty much it though. Like, other than that, I didn't really get much from anybody or anything. So like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into it because I already did a whole separate video on this. If you want to watch, feel free. Yeah, I could talk about this for a long time. If you've read this, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Like I said, I did like this book. I just have a lot of opinions, and this was my first fantasy as an adult. I had high expectations, and I wouldn't necessarily say I was let down. My expectations just weren't necessarily met, but I still liked it. So the next book is a horror, and I did not know that when I ordered it. So I got it on Book of the Month. I thought this was more of a thriller, but nay, I was surprised, and it is a horror book. And that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I just have to say that the story was really great. It was creative, it was interesting, it definitely drew you in. I feel like I read this pretty quick, but I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I did not realize that there was gonna be really intense descriptions of people being like murdered. I won't like spoil anything like in regards to the story, like the plot, but like this is very detailed in like blood gushing, bone snapping, feeling the curdling steam, like just all the ickiness. Like, it's really intense. It is very, very intense. While that stuff doesn't like necessarily scare me, I just don't like reading about it. Like, even when it comes to like scary movies, I can handle scary movies, but I cannot handle torture. I can't. That's like the one thing that I cannot handle in scary movies. Torture is just like a no-go for me. I just, And there was a lot of that in this book. A synopsis of this book is there's a young girl named Darby who lives in Colorado for school, and she's driving to Utah to go visit her mother who's like on her deathbed. She gets caught in a really bad blizzard and has to pull over at a rest stop, and while she's there, there's like 4 or 5 other people stranded there, and she sees into the van that's parked next to her car, and there's a little girl in a kennel in the back of this van. So she basically has to figure out who the heck took this kid, how do I get this kid out of here, but like we're trapped here, so it's not like I can like take her and leave, so they're stranded at this rest stop. So it's definitely a page turner. It's really intense, it's really dramatic. The characters all had enough depth. The ending was almost satisfying. So if you've read this, please message me because I need to know what the heck the epilogue was all about. I was so confused. I had to reread it like 4 times and I just sat there really confused. So if you have a theory about that, I'd love to know because I just did not understand it. It's a really good story, but you definitely have to be into the horror genre to enjoy it, in my opinion, because I while I liked this book, I did not enjoy it, if that makes sense. I definitely don't plan on picking up a horror book ever again. I think that was a good one and done for me. And then the third book that I read this month, which I really liked a lot, and I know this is kind of like, there's a division about this book. Like some people absolutely loved it and other people like really didn't, I've noticed. But I personally really liked it. But then again, this was like my first romance, and you know, that was my first horror and that was my first fantasy, so like maybe my perspective is skewed on things, but I really liked it. And that is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. And I don't think Maggie Knox is actually like the author name. I think this was authored by two different women. Maggie Knox is a pseudonym for writing duo Karma Brown and Marissa Stapley. I love this so much. So synopsis, these are two twin sisters, Charlie and Cass. They're both pastry chefs and they're from a little town, and I think it's Colorado. I might be wrong, but it's like a little cute snowy town called Starlight Peak, and Cass stayed in this little town to work at her family's bakery, and Charlie moved to Los Angeles to co-host a TV show where she judges other pastry chefs and like their food and stuff, and she works with this guy Austin who's like a total jerk. But basically Charlie gets in like an accident at work, a bunch of like pots and pans fall on her and she gets a really bad concussion. So she asks her sister Cass to switch places with her for a week until the holiday episode is like wrapped up on the TV show. And Cass agrees, so they swap places, and then of course each of them fall in love with a man in like the other person's life, and it is so cute. It's so cute. There are some things I would have changed when it comes to the ending, but it was still so good. It reminded me of The Princess Swap, of course, as well as The Holiday, but I think it was the best of both worlds. Now this is my first romance, so maybe like I said, I have a skewed perspective maybe, but I just really liked it a lot. I think this was a great first choice for a first romance, and I'm just obsessed and I love it so much. It was so cute. I will say though that there are a lot of typos in this book. Like at one point Jake is called Jack, and like, I don't know, maybe I missed it and that was like intentional, but there are quite a few grammatical errors in this book, but I can forgive that because it was just so stinking cute. So then my current read that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'm really nervous about it because it's so popular and so beloved, and I tend to have really unpopular opinions. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm really nervous about it, not gonna lie. So I'm buddy reading with Faith over at Faith's Reading Things, and I appreciate that we're both kind of nervous about it. So like I said, this is just so popular and I have kind of high expectations, but I'm nervous to get let down because Sarah J. Maas has a certain writing style that I'm not typically really into. Like for example, I love The Holiday Swap because it was a really lighthearted romance, and apparently Sarah J. Maas is very into like smut and just things getting really steamy and that's just not my thing. Like if it's your thing, fine, that's cool, you know, you do you, but it's just not me. But I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. We'll see what happens. I started it last night and I'm on page 25. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than the fact that I'm nervous about it, and I might be really disappointed, I might hate it, and I might absolutely love it. I might be able to get past all of that if it is in here, but we'll see. I am excited, but I'm nervous. Excited, but nervous. It's fine. It'll all be fine. It'll be okay. I'm glad I'm kind of like getting it over with because like it seems like everybody has read this book. So I'm hoping that even if there are parts like that I don't like, that the overall story really like catches my heart, but we'll see. And then last thing really quick is I want to do a little mini haul. I have 3 books here that I got that I'm really excited about, and the first one I got for Christmas from my husband, and it's so funny because this is suddenly like really popular. I found it randomly on Amazon a couple months ago and added it to my wish list, and then all of a sudden like right after that a bunch of booktube people started talking about it and all that, so apparently I picked a good one, and that's Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. I wanted to say Baldry. And I'm so excited. Look how cute it looks. I saw that on Amazon. I just like immediately added it to my wish list without even reading the synopsis. Surprise, surprise. I do know that it's like fantasy characters like calm down, basically is what I kind of got from it. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. So I think she just like stops doing all of like the fantasy battle war stuff, and then she decides to open up a coffee shop to like chill out, and it's supposed to be like really new to this environment. So it just sounds really cute and cozy, but also is fantasy, so it's like my two favorite things, and I'm so excited to read this. The next one that I got is different for me. I typically try to stay away from things that are a little bit more like witchy and mystical. It's just not my thing. I have convictions about it, but this one sounded really fun and sweet and lighthearted, so judge me for it if you want, that's fine. But I got The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, and I just love this cover so much. But I've heard amazing things about this book. I've heard that it's very wholesome. So from what I understand, there's like this community of people that sacrifice a child to the woods to like this witch to like keep their village safe, but in reality it's not actually like an evil witch who's taking these kids for sacrifice. It's this witch who's like, okay, somebody keeps leaving babies out in the woods, so I'm just gonna like adopt them and make sure that they find a home. This evil person isn't evil at all, and they're just trying to help these little children out and find them a safe home. But when she brings them to this other village to find homes, don't worry, there's no ghosts in here, it's my dog. She feeds them starlight, and instead of feeding one of the girls starlight, she feeds her moonlight by accident, and apparently that gives her like special powers or something like that. I don't know, but it just sounds really sweet and wholesome, and I'll get into this probably sometime next summer, but I'm excited because I just love wholesome sweet stories that make me cry. Now the last book that I got, I pre-ordered quite a while ago, and I got a few weeks ago, but I'm finally going to share it with you guys. It's an autographed copy, which is really fun, and that is A Wilderness of Stars by Shea Ernshaw, who's currently like pretty much my favorite author so far. I love her writing so much. It's so descriptive, poetic, and beautiful. I know I've said that a million times in all of my other videos, and I will never stop saying it, but it is so pretty. And because I pre-ordered it, like I said, it is an autographed copy. She signed it right there. And then because I pre-ordered, I also got this, which is a piece of artwork of the main character, Vega. I will say that this also was just added as an add-on for Book of the Month. So if you want to get this, definitely check on there to get it a little bit cheaper. So the main character, Vega, whom I just showed you, her and her mother live in this valley that is protected by these borders that they are not allowed to leave until she sees the stars. I think it's like a certain constellation she sees, and then she's like forced to leave. She follows the star constellation sign thingy, and she has a secret that she is the last astronomer. Not really quite sure what that means yet. So she leaves the borders and finds out that the world is much more dangerous than she thought it was. People are going blind, losing their hearing as well, and then suddenly dying. And so she's on the hunt to go find the cure, which apparently only the astronomers know about, but they've been keeping it secret. I think that the astronomers historically have been the bad guys keeping this cure from people. I'm not really sure. It sounds really interesting though. So Vega goes on this hunt as the last astronomer to find this cure. When she is revealed to be the last astronomer from a tattoo on her neck, like chaos erupts and people start hunting her down. Vega sets out across the plains with Cricket and Noah, two people she meets along the way, in search of a fabled cure kept secret by the astronomers. But as the lines between friends and protectors begins to blur, Vega must decide whether to safeguard the sacred knowledge of the astronomers or if she will risk everything to try to save them all. So yes, that sounds really fun, and I've heard that this is like really heart-wrenchingly beautiful. A few people have posted reviews about it already, so I'm really excited to read this, even though I'm a tad bit confused on exactly what's happening. From what I understand, this girl has a tattoo, she's an astronomer, she leaves to find a cure for the sick people. Right? So anyway, it sounds fun, it sounds beautiful, and I'm really excited to read it, and I know that Shea Ernshaw just works magic with her words, so I'm very excited to read more of her work. So yes, that was a lot of words. So yes, those are the 3 books that I've read, the 3 books that I've hauled, and the current read that I have going on right now. And I know I was gonna read The Cruel Prince as my last read of the year, but I decided to pick up something a little more lighthearted after No Exit, because I was just gonna go straight from that to The Cruel Prince, but then after I finished No Exit I was like, I need something happy. So I decided to pick up the holiday swap, and I'm so glad I did because it was wonderful. And then I was kind of debating between the Cruel Prince and A Court of Thorns and Roses because it started popping up everywhere. And so I posted a poll on my Instagram of which one I should read next, and most people voted A Court of Thorns and Roses. Anyway, thanks so much for being here, you guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!